Welcome to the Corona Post Show here at the Corona Saquarema Pro, presented by Banco Do Brasil. Day number 4 of competition here on this beautiful stretch of coastline, and it has been a lovely day. The sun came out, the crowds came out, and everybody had a good time, other than the surfers that were eliminated, and we had a few surfers eliminated, 16 women eliminated in that round of 24 for the women, and then in the round of 32 for the women, and 8 men in the round of 24 for the men. I'm Kaipo. This is Mitchell. Thanks for joining me, Mitch.
Yeah, no worries, Kaipo. Thanks for hosting the post show here. And yeah, another excellent day. Day number 4. I almost even lost count there after how many heats we've done. But an incredible day of action. The sun came out today. Waves are firing. It was very consistent. And guess what? The beach was packed too, Kipes.
Yeah. I didn't see much of the beach. I was in the booth a lot today. Stay right here. We're doing the homework and bringing the show to you, in which we enjoy. And let's take a look at what we have going on. We're going to talk about, we started the day with the women, and there's a surfer that we want to get back on tour, Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. She had a great heat. She's so good, they named her 4 times.
Yeah, no, she had one of those stand-up performances, which I think not only came with her wave selection, but I also think the resilience that she showed after a few falls out there, came back, ended up getting the heat win, and a couple of 6s did do out here at Saquarema, Kipes.
Yeah, Betty Lou got the job done, and let's take a look at that heat with Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, Sarah Baum, Daniela Rosa, and Zoe McDougall. We'll check out the highlights for that heat. It was an interesting heat. Sarah Baum, she's been very strong. Daniela Rosa, also out there just coming off of a win over at the Saquarema Surf Festival. And, of course, Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. But it started off with a little controversy here, Mitch.
Yeah, and I think Daniela Rosas didn't realize that in this instance she didn't have better positioning. Maybe she thought the priority had already been established, but a mistake there from the young surfer from Peru. And Sarah Baum capitalized on the opportunity. Kaipo, she had kept the sport on ice up until yesterday, surfed her way to a heat win yesterday afternoon and got 2nd place in this one. But as you said, was this young lady from Haleiwa, Hawaii, that really turned the heat up and was able to get a couple of 6s and eventually move on into the round of 16.
Yeah, actually a 7.5 and a 6.83, 14.33. Right. It was a high heat total for Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. I believe the highest heat total for that round of 32 for the women. So putting on a show, Betty Lou, and she needs to, because her spot has not been clinched as of yet, but she's on her way. She does a good finish here, and then she's back home in Haleiwa for the final event of the Challenger Series. Here's the numbers: 7.5, 6.83. Betty Lou with a strong showing.
Yeah, and she actually did better her situation, as you were mentioning, got the 7.5 as her last ride. But how about Sarah Baum? She's also moving up in the rankings. She needs 2 big results back-to-back in order to qualify to the CT. Would be the lone South African there on the women's side of Kipes.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. We're going to see as we return. It's going to be the women's round of 16, where we go head-to-head matchups in that women's round of 16. Well, last heat of the day, we had Joao Chianca come through, and this has been his best performance so far on the Challenger Series. Joao is with Rachel.
That's right, Joao Chianca. You made it to the quarters in Fernando de Noronha once. Does this wave feels familiar to you?
Yeah, I really like here. I've been coming here from the first QS in 2009, so I have all my routine with the restaurant. They're like my friends. They always welcome me so good, and the food is really good, so I'm really enjoying here.
This was your best result in the Challenger this year. Do you think that training in the beach break is helping you to build results here?
Yeah, it's good. It's similar, the same power as France, and yeah, I've been trying and not getting the rhythm. Now I'm making some hits, so I'm really stoked.
Yeah, so that was the last hit of the day. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations to Joao Chianca as we take a look at the beautiful landscape here at Saquarema. Well, Mitch, then we switched on from the women's to the men's round of 24, where we had 3-man heats. And then I was wondering, what's going on? Why is the beach getting so crowded right now? Why is everyone showing up the beach? And then I realized Gabe Medina was in the house.
Yeah, and it was a big heat too. Kei Kobayashi yesterday afternoon had an incredible performance, got him a heat win, and unfortunately for him, he was bowing out of competition in this one. But Maxime Husino also making it through, number 9 in the rankings. It was a big one out there, Kipes.
It was a must-do for Maxime Husino, who, if he's looking to qualify for the championship tour, he needs still some good results. He's not secured at all. Been 30 years old. He's been doing the QS for over 10 years. This could be his year.
It could be. And looking at the strength of schedule going into the first half of the championship tour in 2023, he comes from beach breaks, originally from Yunan Island too, has a lot of experience in reef breaks. Wouldn't mind seeing him compete at both Pipeline and Sunset Beach. Just start things off in 2023, Kipes.
Yeah, well, can't give him the invite yet. He's got some work to do, but he's getting his work done. He's on to day 5 of competition. Let's look at a recap of Gabe Medina, Maxime Husino, and Kei Kobayashi in their matchup.
Yeah, and as you said, Kipes, the beach got packed when this guy paddled out. And then Kei, I thought he had one of the best heat surfs his whole year on the Challenger Series. Started off real quick, had a couple of 5s in his scoreline. Goes for the big layback right there, the surfer from San Clemente. One of the hardest working surfers on the Challenger Series. Unfortunately for him, it just wasn't enough. This guy looking for a spot to qualify in a big heat, big pressure situation, and he showed up, Kipes. Big two-turn combo right there.
This was a must-do, and Kei Kobayashi's been really, really in form. But then you got the 3-time world champ, and he is going to put on a show every single time. He wants to tame the beast of Itauna, and he's on his way to do that. Said he wanted to dial in his preparation for events in anticipation for the 2023 championship tour, and I think he's dialed in. Woo, full rotation there for Gabe Medina, and that was a 7.7 for that single maneuver.
And how about Kei, too? Made things interesting right here at the end. Went for things and went for broke. I love that layback turn that he really adds to these long right hands.
Watch the conclusion of this is a surfer that wants it, Mitch.
No, he definitely does. And as Masaki would say, Kei, what you doing? And he went for it, and unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. But, Kobayashi has a lot more to prove, and he'll be back on the CS in 2023, I believe.
Yeah, but it's the Medina show, and we think the Medina show is going to continue here. The crowds love him. Hey, we love the excitement that Gabe Medina is able to bring in heats. And look at that scoreline, 14.132 wave total.
Yeah, and Husino, just as impressive, 6.93 and a 5 in his scoreline. Just enough to beat Kei Kobayashi. But as you were saying, a lot of people, I think it's kind of absurd that they say that Medina doesn't have anything to prove here. I think just the contrary. He has everything to prove here by taming the beast and winning the event at Saquarema.
Well, it's just, I think his mindset was that he kind of had a shocker here at the Oi Rio Pro. And like any world champ, you can look back at Adriel de Souza, when there was something that they felt like was a weakness, they came back and they put work in. And I think that's what Gabe Medina's doing, as well as he's like dialing in his pre-event kind of a training regime so that he makes sure that he peaks at every single event. So some homework being done by the 3-time world champ. On the women's side, we're going to switch back to women because there was a scenario in which today Molly Picklum and Katie Simmers could have qualified if a couple of ladies did not get through a heat, and that being Teresa Bonvalot and Bronte McCauley in their heat. And here's the heat right here, the round of 32 heat 2. There was a lot on the line in this heat, but Teresa and Bronte, they brought the noise, and they did what they needed to do.
So I read the text message wrong this morning. I thought it had to be both of them losing in order for both Molly and Caitlin to qualify. It only needed to be one.
And they both got the job done. And Teresa, let's go to this heat recap right here, because you can see Teresa in this heat really had to make a late charge to get out of this heat and avoid elimination. It was a stacked one.
100%, and it was all Bronte McCauley from the get-go in that heat. Sol Aguirre had a couple of decent scores, but the surfer from Western Australia, Kaipo, had some great surfing at the beginning. Just the one turn right there, that garden her one of her top 2. And then Sol, with a beautiful layback right here, was able to make a comeback, put herself in contention. And then Shino Matsuda also had a couple of great waves on the backhand as well. But Bronte's consistency and her work with Glenn Hall really paid off in this heat. And then fortunately for her, she kept her dream alive as Teresa made a huge comeback here, got 2 lefts in a row in the last 3 minutes of the heat, Kipes.
Yeah, great surfing, and look at the arc that Teresa Bonvalot was able to provide. Rail game and performing under pressure and getting out of that heat.
Seriously crazy that she was able to get those 2 waves in the last 4 minutes, come from 4th all the way to 1st, take the heat win, and Bronte McCauley was also able to move through. But this is the one wave that moved Teresa up from 4th place into 1st, wrapped it back, and then a strong finish for the Portuguese surfer.
Yeah, she went out there and earned a 6.5 and a 5.2, 11.7 for 2-wave total for Teresa Bonvalot. And we're going to see her in the round of 16. There's all the numbers from this heat. Pretty tight heat when you look at the spread.
Yeah, and all the way from 1st all the way to 4th. And unfortunately for Seoul, had the 5.5, wasn't able to back it up. But I feel for Shino Matsuda. She was in 2nd all heat long. And unfortunately for her, Teresa Bonvalot just had the necessary heat at this given moment in the round of 32.
Well, that was a must win. You know, these two women are under pressure, and the pressure's starting to cook because we're getting to the pointy end right now of the event. We're down to the round of 16 for both the men and the women, so only 16 surfers left on each side.
I personally love it, though. I think the people that have really risen to the top have been the best surfers, the ones that are really desiring to qualify for the championship tour, and those are the people that have not only been in this spot and this situation before, they have that experience and they know what it takes in order to not only get to Haleiwa, but qualify, Kipes.
Yeah, that's the mission, right? This is the path to the championship tour. This is how you're going to do it. So we're getting to the end of the path right now, and things are getting narrower on the path. So such a good time. But now, Mitchell, what time is it?
It's the top 5,
It's
Kaipo.
the top 5. This is my favorite time. I enjoy the top 5. I like to look at, because it's just like you get all today's action just in the final 5. So let's take a look at today's top 5. Top 5 moments today all starts with the young Californian, just 23 years old, Kei Kobayashi, with some clean surfing.
Look, and he surfed his heart out, too. Went for the big laybacks, as you see right there. This score came in as the 5.73 for San Clemente's own Kei Kobayashi. He went for the Hail Mary here right at the end, and unfortunately for him, coming out of this turn, had to leapfrog straight on into the sand, but not for lack of trying. Unfortunately, just didn't make it out of that heat.
The never give up attitude. Number 4, Douglas Silva made a last-minute charge, decided to come to Saquarema to compete as a wild card, and he finds himself in the round of 16.
It's kind of crazy. He surfed in the first heat of the event, got the Hail Mary buzzer beater air, and then all of a sudden, he's making a charge into the round of 16. I didn't see this coming, Kaipo, but I'm glad to see a lot of the local surfers not only earning these wild cards, and as you can see there, he's definitely proven that he's Challenger Series worthy too.
Oh, yeah, a couple of double bangers there on the backhand, looking like a little like a wiggly Dantes with the technique and pushing so much power, and he's stoked as he moves on into the round of 16, and the local crowd loves it as well. A lot of local support for this kid. Number 3, Betty Lou Sakura Johnson puts up 2 great waves in her heat.
Well, and guess what? Haleiwa needs to stand up because we're more than likely going to see this lady back on the CT next season. She automatically requalifies if she makes the final here, Kaipo. And she had a 6 in her scoreline, bettered it with the 7.5 here at the end with some beautiful surfing. And that Slater Designs looks great underneath her feet.
Yeah, the technique, the quickness, just the whole package from Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, and she looks like she's championship tour worthy. Another guy who's championship tour worthy, Chumbinho. Joao Chianca put up a 7.5 and a 7.07 for 14.57 2-wave total. He went to town in his home break.
And probably the most underappreciated surfer in the event, too, the local boy, with another great heat total. And the way he was able to dominate from start to finish as well, it was a big heat for him, going up against 2 Australians, Kalani Ball and Liam O'Brien. Number 18 in the ranks, already made a final this year, looking to make another one right here at home. Ice in my veins.
Ice in my veins. Was that what the celebration was right there? Chumbinho, Joao Chianca, and it feels so much better when you do it at home in front of your home crowd. Number 1, speaking of home crowd, Gabriel Medina and the Medina mania that surrounds Gabe.
You know, I've seen it in other places of the world, specifically in California, where he's, around big crowds. But here's different. People truly admire and really love this character. And he went out there and performed for his fans. And guess what, Kipes? He's looking as one of the favorites and obviously has the competitive experience to win out here at Saquarema as well.
Yeah, and he could be gobbling up a lot of valuable Challenger Series points with his performance. If he takes a win out here, it'll change some scenarios. But there, that is the flash. That is the flair of the three-time world champ Gabe Medina. He can take a nothing wave and turn it into something.
Yeah, and guess what? Crying is free. You got to go out there and perform against the best in the world. And if he goes out there and wins, well, you got to prove that you should be able to beat this guy if you're going to make the CT.
Great point. You make the championship tour, you're going to have to go against Gabe Medina. And especially if you make the championship tour from the Challenger Series, you're going to be some of those low seats.
Yes,
so you're going to see Gabe Medina in your first few events very early in the competition draw.
100%, and that's going to happen whether you like it or not. Even if you're the top seed or the low seed that's going to qualify, you're still going to go up against those bigger names once you make it to the CT.
Yeah, this is true. Well, thanks again, Mitch.
Doing it again tomorrow, Kaipo, or what?
We're going to do it again tomorrow. Check it at worldsurfleague.com. Likely we're going to get underway with day number 5 here at the Corona Saquarema Pro, presented by Banco Do Brasil. And right now, we're going to say goodbye, but we got more. Enjoy today's highlights. Aloha.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.